there. They're going to try to deny this, whatever. It's just crazy. Just like they denied that they were spying on Trump when they admitted they were spying on Trump. So Mike Zula, again, of the cold case posse and what happened to Arpaio, yourself, we got like 7-8 minutes left. Please come on tomorrow. Please, all of you cover this. But clearly, all hell's breaking loose when they had you all surveilled this week. Because I'm busy, and you're busy. But I kind of like stuff cook on the burner because I don't know what's going to happen with it. But let me tell you, this has really scared some people. Where do you think this is going?
You know, Alex, like I said, this information was turned over. We were successful with Larry Klayman in getting Mr. Montgomery to a federal judge, and ultimately Larry Klayman got him to the FBI.
And by the way, what a rock star Larry Klayman. He has just devastated them on hundreds of fronts. We're not giving credit here. It's just, this is another patriot.
Oh, Larry's a patriot. And he moved heaven and earth to get Mr. Montgomery there. That's over 2 years ago. And no one has heard anything about this. Now,
it all got sealed inside court. So tell us, you've got the database. We put out excerpts. This totally proves what Trump's saying.
No, I want to be clear. We don't have the database. What you have to realize,
you have the screenshots of the entries of the database.
We have information that Montgomery gave us. That's been turned over.
Yes.
Okay. This is Montgomery's rendition of God knows what.
But it's clearly thousands of pages of screenshots of databases. So, well, you're the expert as a detective. Tell us what it is.
It's Montgomery's rendition of whatever information he was privy to.
And that way, legally, we don't have secret documents. This is what your witness, Montgomery, said.
No, we don't have secret documents. Montgomery turned over, I believe, 37 hard drives to the FBI. Now, that's
now clearly Trump's the president. He knows about this. Of course, he tells him about it. Trump comes out and says, I'm going public the next week.
That's what I understand. Yes.
All right, well, you're the expert. Just please, because I'll interrupt. I mean, tell us what else we need to know.
Well, the fact is
Dr. Corsi's jumping in. Sorry, go ahead, Doc.
Jump in. I mean, I made sure the White House had this early last week. I think we did it Monday, Tuesday. And I let top people in the White House know it was coming. So the story was breaking. Now, the records that we have are, proof out. In fact, Alex, I just emailed into you so you can have printed out in the studio. You can see what the records look like.
I've got some of them. Yeah, print me the rest of them. Here they are. I don't want to show too much of this. Don't show it. Yeah, it's got. Go ahead.
You can see what, these are, database records, and the key, and I think I want to make sure we end well at this point, is that I was in.
And this is confidential document, government eyes only.
I was in Washington last week, and what we did is we sent out. I met with top member of the House of Representatives. We met with a couple of, to get the word onto Congress that we want to meet with the Department of Justice. I'm going to have another article.
By the way, I'm going to cover this, but I'm going to show the top of it. Look at this. Project Dragnet Master Database Records. Let's keep going, Doc.
Well, I want to show, tomorrow we have the information, as you said, of the wiretapping of Arpaio's court case, in which the lawyers, were basically going forward with information that was being wiretapped. But the lawyers were being wiretapped. Things were going forward.
Wow.
That the Department of Justice was intervening with the judges. The Sheriff Arpaio was wiretapped during the trial.
And that's what Mike Zula was starting to get at. Just that alone, they knew about from their source. Then it came out in the news in the Snowden dump. Let's go back to him and then back to you.
And then, finally, we want to come in. We'd like to come into Washington next week and present this information.
I think National Press Club, regardless, because the people will scare Trump and say, oh, look out, stay away. It might not be totally accurate. I think you should be at the press club. I should come up there, too.
Well, I think we should organize, and to the Department of Justice. I want to get into the Department of Justice that this information, now that I think the White House is aware that this Project Dragnet, we have reason to believe had been wiretapping Trump and his family back to 2004.
And again, where would an NSA whistleblower go? They would go to Sheriff Arpaio, who was then the only law enforcement officer that had any courage in this country, other than maybe the sheriff of up in Milwaukee. You want to comment on that, detective?
Well, I think that's precisely why Sheriff Arpaio was approached, and like I said in the beginning, look, nobody.
And notice as soon as you got this info, all hell broke loose.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's evidence that we had turned over that Sheriff Arpaio's phones were wiretapped. That evidence has been turned over to federal authorities, and nobody says anything about it.
Wow. Wow. Well, I think they've bitten off more than they can chew. And I'm not trying to act confident. We've got the president. The numbers show that people are awake. That's why they're so scared, though, Mike, is they know we're awake.
Well, I think that it's a hard thing to start to cover up when you get caught lying and lying and lying. I think it's difficult to cover it up. I heard you earlier talking about parallel construction. I mean, that's what a lot of this is. You know, it's been explained to me that the way you could be targeted is they would take mass amounts of information all around you, but just to focus in on you, so it doesn't look like you were targeted.
Exactly.
I mean, this is something that has to be really exposed and corrected now. And I want to be really clear. I don't believe everyone in these agencies is a bad actor. I don't believe every one of these agencies is out to...
Sure, because there'll be morning briefings that we're enemies out to bring down their agencies. No, we're not. They're trying to bring down the president that's got $3 trillion in the stock market, trying to make America great again. He's been surveilled illegally. Let's go after the criminals at the top.
Well, you know, you have to look at it from another perspective. I mean, you have to look at it and realize something. You know, Donald Trump did not have to do this. Donald Trump isn't getting compensated to do this. Donald Trump is in the best years of his life, and he's dedicating it to his country. And everything is being thrown at the man. So my position is on this information was turned over in federal court. It's been turned over to the FBI. Montgomery deserves some type of hearing.
So Montgomery is the new Snowden, and you're here now for the first time. His name is now known. They've tried to keep it secret. Now it's known.
He just needs to get his day in front of us.
Briefly, tell us about this man. Tell us his full breakdown in like 1 minute if you can.
Well, Dennis Montgomery has credibility issues because of things that were done to him. And, you know, whether or not any of that stuff is legitimate or not,
they're going to use it.
They're going to use it. But the fact of the matter is, even bad guys have truthful information. That's just the truth.
Well, how the hell would he get all the real phone numbers to me and Donald Trump and everybody else?
Montgomery tried, like, I believe it's 12 times, if not more, to become a whistleblower and was turned away every step of the way.
Well, it's like the database hacking people and the people at Diebold that were hired for fraud. They would go hire people that even had convictions and stuff to run their programs because then they could just deny that, you know, oh, you're a crook. We don't listen to you.
Yeah, exactly. And that seems to be what is going on.
Mike Zullo, you never plug anything when you come on. You're such a great guy. Is there a Facebook, a Twitter? How do people stay in contact with you?
I don't really want people to stay in contact.
I understand you're a patriot. Will you come on tomorrow? I know you're busy.
Yeah, I will.
This is going to be huge tomorrow. Dr. Corsi, I know you got an email on InfoWars. How do folks contact you with whistleblowing, contacts you name? We're seeing the next Snowden here.
Well, it's Dr. C at InfoWars.com.
Dr. C. I want to thank the crew. I want to thank you. I'm very honored to be associated with all this. Thanks to Drudge, DrudgeReport.com, linking to this. We'll have more out tonight on this and more tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central, if the deep state doesn't SWAT team us, and I'm serious. Stay with us. Retransmission starts now. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, see, I told you so, that communist Chinese-style net censorship was coming to the web, because it's already here. It's being announced. The way you keep the internet open and free is you get involved more than ever. Go to InfoWars.com/app. A new battleship in the fight. InfoWars Live, available right now. We're looking for a crew to man it. You gonna sit down and play games and be a trendy? Or are you gonna be part of history? Don't sit by and let the internet and free speech be stolen from you. Take action. Some of the biggest news we've broken in a long, long time. And we've broken other big stories, like a hit and run, what appeared to be attempted murder of Roger Stone earlier this week. It's finally in the Miami newspapers and broadcast television today that indeed the police are investigating it as that. Or when we get secret documents that Homeland Security says that veterans, gun owners, and Christians and conservatives are the #1 threat to America. People didn't believe us for a week, until Janet Napolitano came out and said, yeah, that's a real training manual. We stand by it. Obviously, when we had Colonel Schaefer on, very respected, but we had him on less than a week after Benghazi, and he laid it out exactly what it took 3 years later for the information to come out. There are so many hundreds of examples of us breaking big national news here over and over again, like the fact that Hillary Clinton was falling down, having convulsions every 45 minutes or so. And then she was caught 2 weeks after I said that on air in a medical tent, reportedly collapsed for 45 minutes. And then the media made fun of us saying that. And 1 week later on 9/11, she collapsed in front of the world. And the media would only show her shaking, about to fall, and wouldn't show her actually falling on her face. And would say we made that up, hoping you didn't go look online and see the full video that we broke down and reported on, that Drudge Report put out to the entire planet. So, we break a lot of massive news here. Now, I knew about this database last week. I reported on the existence of it years ago. But we have, obviously, law enforcement sources that are very respected that were giving the data and information to outgoing Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, good friends with President Trump and also fearless, and his chief cold case investigator, Mike Zullo, who has massive contacts on the East Coast, obviously, where he previously worked in law enforcement. We were going to go with this tomorrow with Arpaio and Zula, but because of security issues, we just want to get it out now. I'm leaving it at that, and sooner couldn't be better because this is big. Now, part of this is an admitted database and a program that was reported on by the Electronic Frontier Foundation, very respected, the London Guardian, and others. When I saw the final draft this afternoon, I called Corsi and I called Merkel Phelan, who's our hacking internet specialist, and I said, I want to add a lot of stuff to this article that's background, that they admittedly, in the New York Times and Washington Post in January, said they were spying on President-elect and President Trump with intercepts, wiretaps, you name it. Then they tried to walk that back. We're going to cover that today. I said, I want that added into some context, and I want added into context that the Senate Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee was spied on by the CIA 5 years ago. Remember that huge controversy? Just search in. CIA spied on Senate Intelligence Committee. Just type it in for yourself. In fact, I printed that Friday. Will you reprint that or pull it out of my stack? Because they just act like none of this is happening when it is happening. But we have the actual law enforcement NSA database. Now, the reason we have this is state police, the DEA, the FBI, and others. There's London Guardian. The constitutional crisis, the CIA turns on the Senate, openly spying on them. Domestically, because they were worried about their budget. That's illegal. Yeah, print that for me. Thank you. That's September 2016, but that came out 5 years ago that it was first happening. So, they give access to these databases. In fact, print me the article out of Associated Press 3 years ago. Headline is Parallel Construction. DEA involved in parallel construction. Yahoo News as well. That's where they have the NSA database for spying on people, but they can't use the NSA database domestically, so they have to go rebuild the case with the info they already have. I mean, they know you're a drug dealer. They know what you're doing. They know who you're supplying. They know what you're up to. Or maybe they're going to set you up. Maybe not. Maybe they're putting false info in the database, as the new Vault 7 CIA WikiLeaks shows, where they're framing Russia and others. Communist China is being used to frame Russia for, quote, us. That's the globalist. Oh, America's pretty much run by the Communist Chinese right now. It's truly sickening. Our elites have sold us out to them. They're the ones with North Korea opening and threatening to nuke the U.S. Yeah, there it is. Reuters. Exclusive. U.S. directs agents to cover up programs used to investigate Americans. Print me that solid gold. So what's happening here is, as the head guy at INFOWARS, I don't really act as an editor. Paul Watson does, and so does Dr. Corsi on his own pieces on our Washington Bureau. But I saw his article, and it was so powerful. I said, listen, you're going to have to not give up sources here, but they already know how you're getting this. This is no secret. This is from state police, DEA, things like that. I'm going to stop right there. So they're able to get into the database of who's already been spied on without a warrant in these, quote, dragnet operations. NSA files decoded Edward Snowden's surveillance, revelations explained. Dragnet NSA spying survives, 2015 review. Electronic Frontier Foundation, very respected. What's the news we've got? And I'm holding publishing this till next hour till we've added all these links. Because, of course, Corsi's the type of journalist. He just gives you our breaking report, our info that's bombshell. But I want when the media tries to pick it apart, I want to have all the other admissions of, oh, they were ordered to illegally cover up their illegal, activities in America. Oh, they're spying on everybody. Oh, here's London Guardian. Oh, here's Reuters. Oh. Here's the Senate committee admitting it. Oh. How's that feel? Before we give you the big enchilada. We've not just received the data of the dragnet. Our law enforcement services, who are patriots in many cases, have given our sources, who are impeccable, the database excerpts, and we have them. And by the way, we could be SWAT team ready at any minute for this. But again, we have President Trump now who wants law and order. So there's still criminal elements in the government. We don't know what's going to happen. This is all done in the interest of the Republic and the truth. We have President Trump being surveilled by Obama previous to even running for the presidency. And then it cuts off and the rest has not been put in the database since then for these law enforcement groups. We only have the database up until 2015. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got Barack Obama spying on the Trump kids, the Trump wife, particular interest in the Trump's daughter. Oh, and guess who else is in the database? A guy named Alex Jones. My private cell phone number, our little shadow office, all of it is in there. So, very interesting. And I'm getting calls by these law enforcement guys, and they're like, yeah, is this your number? Is this your address? Yeah. I'm like, of course it's my number. You're talking to me on it. And I guess they just went live with it. That's fine. But I talked to them an hour ago and 30 minutes ago and 15 minutes ago before I went on air, and I said, wait, because I want to add all that. But it's fine. It's now gone live on INFOWARS.com, and we're going to add some of the background to that information. But we also probably need to clip out this little segment of the live show and add this into the piece. But it explains it and breaks it all down. But we've put this out a day early because of security concern issues. Because let's just say behind the scenes, some stuff broke loose. Once they were obviously listening to our phones last week, we were talking about this. And with most people, you're just being recorded and it's in a database, then go back to it later. When you're talking about Sheriff Arpaio or myself or Dr. Corsi, who's up there with his nose and everything in D.C., they're spying on everybody in real time. And, of course, Trump knows it's going on. He's ordering them to stop. They won't stop. People kept saying, Trump's going to learn he was a victim of all this illegal spying, and he's going to stand up against it. And now it's happening, and he's this big champion against it. And the media is trying to act like, with the Snowden movie that came out and all the rest of it and all the documents, that none of this is true or happening. They make fun of Conway for saying your appliances spy on you when it's all over the news. And it's in the new database dump. And I'm told more's coming, but this is not from the latest Vault 7. It's not from the other stuff. This is directly from law enforcement to our sources. And it's a big, big deal. More breaking straight ahead. I'm Alex Jones.